Welcome back to day 2 of making the drawstring pouch. I'm glad to see that you're back today to finish and assemble this drawstring pouch. You made it, and today is the last day for this pattern. How was your day yesterday? Did you have a lot of fun? Was it relaxing? Today should be simple as well. Like I mentioned, this pouch takes no time to make and it's really easy. If you like how I'm splitting all of these sew tutorials into different parts, leave me a comment and a thumbs up because that's the only way for me to know if you guys like it or not, or if you want a different types of tutorials. To assemble the pouch, of course, you need both the pieces you made yesterday. You will also need the string, C1, and 2 of the little beads, C2. To begin, let's turn this pouch wrong side out and this right side out. Next, we're gonna mark the top center point on both pieces. You know how I like to mark my top center points. Of course, you could always use a pen or pencil to mark your top center point, but for me, a scissors and a little snip is what I like. Oops, I didn't cut the other side. It's okay, we could do it again. This cutting technique to mark the center points will actually come in handy if you learn the techniques when you want to make like a bag or a pouch that has a circle bottom base. Next, take this interior lining and insert it inside the exterior. Basically, the right side are facing each other. See? Just insert it in. Actually, I think this will be handy if you stick your finger and then just insert. Now you're gonna want to align it at the marked center points you just did and pin it in place. And then for the side here, you want to take the seam and open it and take the inside seam, open it. This technique will reduce the bulkiness along the side of your pouch, okay? And try to align the center points of both seams with each other. Pin it in place. Repeat this process and do it for all sides. Now take this to the sewing machine and sew all along the opening with 1/2 inch seam allowance. Another tip I have is that if you have a free arm, use it. I don't have any sewing machine that is a free arm, so I can't demo with that. I wish I have one. But that's okay, we could do it without a free arm. If you have a free arm, you just gotta slip this in and sew around and spin it around. See how I don't have a free arm? It doesn't come off. So take your pouch, just kind of bend it like this, and so that you could get the pressure foot on and then sew it along this way. I'm gonna change the view angle to this side, which make it quite harder for me to sew because I'm a right-handed person, but I really want to show you how to do it if you don't have a free arm. Okay, so what I was saying is that you just lean it like this and put your pressure foot down like that. And then you just keep turning it out like that and keep sewing. Another tip I have is to start from one of the seams. That way, if you didn't align the stitch well when you come back around, it's okay, no one will see it. If you are not comfortable doing this method, just go slow. Start slow. No one's gonna judge. I'm not there to touch you. There's only you there. I'm almost back to the starting points and it's making me nervous because I try to get it to align with the starting stitches. But here's another tip. You can kind of wiggle it a little bit to get it aligned if you need to. If you're really off, then don't even bother. But If you just like maybe, I want to say 0.1% off. Is that even a number? Whoop, I just got it perfect. Even for me, getting a line like that could be a challenge, okay? So don't feel bad if you couldn't get a line, because I still struggle with it. And when I get a line, I just feel so good. Now, here's the fun part. You're gonna take your hand in here and find that little gap you seam ripped yesterday. Let's see, I can find, oh, I found it. Okay, you're gonna take your hand and from that gap, put your hand through the gap, then grab the exterior side and pull it through like this. Hopefully you make the gap big enough for your fingers. I sure did today. Not like my Caroline crossbody bag. Pull it through, but don't pull it too rough because you don't want to rip your stitches more than you need, okay? All right, now what you're gonna do is, before we close this hole, we're gonna take our finger in here and we're gonna poke out all the corners. Once you seal up that hole, you won't be able to do this. Look how clean that is compared to when you leave a gap. And then you have to push all these edges in, and it's not the same. All you have to do is sew about 1/8 of an inch across to close that gap. Since we're closing this gap, and to make sure it closed tightly, I would recommend back stitching at the starting points and at the ending points as well. Look how good this is. I'm in love with the collar. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the lining and push it inside the exterior. I know I said this so many times, but it's very important you poke out all the corners. One of my favorite things to do, because I like how the lining kind of stick out a little bit when we tighten the string, I usually take my finger and I roll it a little bit on the edge like this. If you don't like the interior lining sticking out, you could try to align it perfectly so you don't see it. See how it has that edge? This is what I'm talking about. I love the look of a drawstring pouch with the edge here and a two-tone. That's why I came up with this pattern. Next up, you will need a ruler, so get yourself a ruler. Notice that it was really hard for you guys to see my measurements for this ruler. Let me get a different ruler. I should have used this from the beginning. All right, let's use this white ruler. Now, what you're gonna do is you're gonna lay this back flat with the seam on the side, and you're gonna push it flat. Like this, really flat. We're gonna make two lines, one at 3/4 inch from the top edge and one at 1 3/4 inch from the top edge. Because we are marking on the exterior side, use an erasable marker or pencil. I'm using a pen. Don't copy me, because this is just to show you guys where the lines are. I'm gonna mark 3/4. So try to kind of align it kind of like in the middle of the bag. That's why I said it's very important you lay it flat. And then the next one you're gonna do is 1 3/4. Make a couple markings along the back before you draw the lines. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the same for the edge. When you make those 3 markings, then you could take the ruler and align it against those markings you just made and draw a straight line. Now you're gonna do the same for the back. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna take to the sewing machines and we're gonna sew along those 2 lines we just drawn all the way around. If you like your back to look like mine, what I do is I sew a 1/8 of an inch seam allowance on the edge here. Both sides are now marked, so I'm ready to take this to the sewing machine and sew 3 lines. I still have the same needle as yesterday, so I'm gonna go ahead and switch this needle out to a size 116. All right, we gotta do the same thing where we have to fold the edge here and feed it through because I don't have a free arm. But if you have a free arm, use it. Again, start at the seam. All the sewing is now done, but I want to show you something. See this side? Look how good I did it. There's no bunching up, it's perfectly even. The thread is aligned here perfectly, but look on this side. I did an oopsie here, and I kind of bunch it up because I measure the line off a little bit, and it didn't align with this side of the seam. And so when I try to sew it, I tried to align it, and you can see it kind of bunching up here. But that's okay, it's just a drawstring bag, no one gonna know. That mistake is a secret between us. Now you're gonna do is seam rips between the gap here. Do the same for this other seam. This time we're not sewing over it, so if you don't do it this way, I find that this raw edges look bad. So by doing it this way, when we cut this open to put the string through, it looks a lot cleaner. The gap should be the width between the two lines you just saw. Now this pouch is ready for the string. Grab your string, C1, you should have 2 of them, and grab your beads, C2. This tool is called a bobbin, and it's very handy if you need to thread any string through a small hole. So what you do is you grab it at the edge here. I can't do it while watching the camera screen. Try to see what you guys see. But anyway, grab it and then you're gonna pull this. If you don't have this tool, what you can do is use a safety pin. Now what we're gonna do is thread this from this side and go all the way around to the other side. And make sure you tighten this really well, because if you don't tighten it well inside the bag, it will fall off and then you'll be like, where's my piece? I had designed this gap to be big enough so that you could fit this easily. So that should not be an issue. If you ever have hoodie, do you know that the string, the tightening part where you tighten your hoodie, that string always come off, and it annoyed the crap out of me when I was a kid trying to get it back through the hoodie. Looking back at it, why did my mom not buy this tool? It will be a lot easier than sitting there and trying to thread it through with your hand and that little hardened tips of the string. It was terrible. See, look how easy that is. You could use the same tool for that hoodie problem I'm talking about. Now try to pull it through so that it's even somewhat. At this stage with the string on the side, it could technically be called a drawstring because I could just pull it and tighten it. The look of having the string on one side doesn't look cute enough for me. Like I don't know, I just don't like how it just, the unevenness is really bothering me that's only one side. So that is why I gave you 2 string. You're gonna take the other string and do the same thing with the bobbin. If you're using a different tool that is very good, leave me a comments down below and tell me what the tool you're using are. So to make the string on both sides, because we went through this side and go all the way around and we got this string on this side, we're gonna go the opposite side for this other string. What do you guys store in your drawstring pouch? So we're gonna do the same thing, try to even it. Now that look a lot cuter, right? At this stage, you have the option to add the beads. If you don't want the beads, you could just tie a little knot here and keep it that way. I like mine with the beads, of course, because I designed it that way. Once you thread the bead through, you can tie a knot at the end here, but I learned a little trick. So when I designed this pouch, I pick a bead that's just enough gap for you to go one more loop of one of the string, not two, one. So what I do is I take one of the string and I thread it through again. And that will tie the bead in place, see? Now to make this little tip prettier, I cut it at an angle. Look at that. Now do the same for the other side. It's getting a lot cuter already. Both string ends are now complete and the pouch is complete. Look how cute this turned out to be. Now, if you bought my kits, you have 2 more to make. So take what you learned so far and try to improve your skill when you make the other 2. Well, wasn't that easy? These drawstring bags are so easy to make and fun at the same time. I hope you have fun watching me making this bag and sew along with me. If you like my content, please leave me a thumbs up. And if you have any suggestion for the future bags idea, leave me a comment down below. Who knows, I might make it the next time. Alright, as always, happy sewing and see you next time in the next sew along tutorial.